The Pro Muscle Italy Pro ended this past weekend, and I wanted to discuss what actually happened. The live stream, garbage. The lighting, garbage. It's the same old spiel over and over again, but what I actually wanted to talk about was the subject and the winner of the show, Hunter Labrada. Hunter is an interesting case because he's been talked about for a good portion of the year, and the hype around Hunter started snowballing around the time of the Detroit Pro that was hosted by Fuad. And what happened at that Detroit Pro was that Hunter was doing a guest posing alongside Samson Dauda. And when you look at them both, you just think, holy shit, Hunter compares really fucking well next to Samson. He's absolutely massive. Although it's prudent to remember that Samson was almost entirely off his cycle. Maybe he was taking a few things here and there just to maintain some sort of balance, but he was definitely off the gear, while Hunter was in prep mode for this specific Italy Pro. Still, I remember everyone being impressed by Hunter. I was impressed by Hunter, and that's sort of where this narrative sort of changed, because after the Olympia, his hype did die down quite a bit. It's the fact that he was unable to defeat a very subpar Andrew Jack and actually placed behind him. And since then, his stock went down, but his stock went back up after that Detroit Pro. And then sporadically, updates, one here, one there, and more so as the time the Italy Pro came about. The hype for Hunter before the Italy was at an all-time high. I mean, people were saying, hey, he's going to defeat Andrew Jack, he's going to defeat Nick Walker. But then the Italy Pro happened. And when the Italy Pro happened, I would say that Hunter's hype absolutely flatlined. The stock for Hunter went down. So why is that? Why are people so negative on Hunter? Because if you look at the comments, and there's a lot of comments saying that people are unimpressed, people don't see the hype around Hunter, people don't like his physique, and is that justified in my opinion? Well, I would say that as someone who is a decent fan of Hunter, the hype for Hunter did in fact kind of trail off. If you look at Hunter's limbs, the legs, the arms, everything is great, man. But once you start looking at the torso heap, that's when it kind of just doesn't come together all too well. Hunter's pec was torn some years ago, and it's been a point of contention for his bodybuilding career ever since. When people try to critique Hunter's physique, that's usually what people try to focus on, that specific pec tear. And it's a small blemish in the grand scheme of his physique, but it is noticeable to where people dislike it and they fault him for it. That point of criticism is never going to escape him because that pec tear is always just going to be there. If you dismiss the pec tear, that's fine, but let's move on downward into the midsection. His midsection has always been a problem. I would say that he has the same problem as, I would say, a Justin Rodriguez. So the thing about Justin Rodriguez, and I could say the same about Hunter Labrada, is that when I look at them, if you look at his limbs, if you look at his legs, if you look at his back, if you look at his width, everything is all there, except when you look at the center of the body, which you gravitate more to, but that first impression really matters. The thing about Hunter, even though yes, he's big, and even though his body parts are so complete, he's just blurred out from his midsection, and I would say that his main focus should be that midsection because it really derails his entire physique. The lighting didn't do him any favors. If you look at videos, actually he doesn't look all too bad. But if you look at the live stream and if you look at pictures, that form of media is doing him no form of compliments. If I were Hunter, a top 10 Olympian, I would not select a show where I know the lighting is going to be ambiguous. I would instead choose a show that has historically had good lighting, a decent backdrop because that does matter, and select that as my choice because presentation goes a long way. Especially coming off from a long off season onto a bodybuilding stage where my hype could easily be derailed, I would take every precaution to make sure that the showcasing of my physique would be in order. What I will say about Hunter Labrada is that he takes criticism really well. If this were any other person, they usually sort of take to social media, make a post about it, or just have complete breakdowns. pounds. And honestly, he tries to filter the criticism. And my criticism to Hunter would be, hey dude, just sort of focus on the midsection. If you focus on the midsection, your physique is going to come together because, again, the arms are there, the legs are there, the back is there. And yes, those things can use some refinement like any other bodybuilder, but if you focus on that midsection and you really get it tight, less criticism is going to be directed your way. If Hunter doesn't get that midsection under control, I would say people like Nick Walker, Andrew Jack, and even a Martin Fitzwater are going to surpass him. Let's firstly talk about Andrew because that's one we could just eliminate and not really talk about because his midsection is essentially perfect. It looks almost AI generated. Martin pulls a vacuum and his abs, when he crunches down on them, are actually well defined. If you look at the abs and thighs, it's there, it's complete, and it doesn't look all too bad. Yeah, he has that weird split in the middle, but honestly, is it distracting? Not really. Someone else who has defined abs is actually Nick Walker. And yeah, he doesn't have the most pleasing midsection, but his abs are defined, an attribute that Hunter Labrada does not possess. He doesn't do that side abs and thighs where they put the arm overhead. Every time I see a bodybuilder do that, it's because it's apparent that their abs and thighs is weak and it's not their strongest pose. I feel like I need to look at more of the videos to assess whether Hunter is actually going to be in the contention for a top 6 placing. It's not out of the realm of possibility because Hunter, he's extremely complete, but it's always just kind of been this case where Hunter doesn't really deliver on the hype that trails behind him. And that kind of sucks. And what also sucks is that he has that stigma where he has that last name that people always point to and saying that this is why he has these specific placings. Labrada. And I think he's actually gone on record and said that, hey dude, sometimes I wish my fucking last name wasn't Labrada. Not that he's not proud of his last name, not that he doesn't love his family, it's just that stigma, those hateful comments because of that last name that claim he's getting a gift. And is he getting a gift? I don't know, man. I guess we're going to find out in this year's Mr. Olympia. I do think Andrew Jack is going to place ahead of him. I do think Nick Walker is going to place ahead of him. All the people that were hating on Nick Walker saying that, oh, he's done, he's over, the hype is over, I think that was just a bit exaggerated. Someone who I do believe now has the potential to surpass Hunter is actually someone who I mentioned prior, and that's Martin Fitzwater. I think Martin is a very complete bodybuilder, and when I look at him, it's not all just hype because the hype that was surrounding Martin is a hype that he delivered on time and time again. Firstly, at the Detroit Pro, and secondly, at the New York Pro, where he came very close to Nick Walker. And yes, that wasn't Nick Walker's best package, but it was still a formidable Nick. And so Martin, being this underrated bodybuilder, might just slip past a few people. You just never know with bodybuilding. Damn, it's hard to be a Hunter Labrada fan right now. I mean, the people that were advocating for him in the various comments and various pages, they're just kind of silent right now. And something I want to mention about the Texas Pro and how Andrew Jack won is that when he was compared to the others, it looked like he was above another league compared to those other bodybuilders in the lineup. When I look at Hunter Labrada here, he doesn't look all that superior to the rest of the bodybuilders in the Italy lineup. So, shit. I don't hate Hunter. I hope he proves me wrong. And I hope he gets a good placing at the Olympia. I just think he needs to dial it in a bit more, and he is back in the conversation to be a top 6 Olympian. That's really all I have to say today. I'm still trying to figure out this casual format, but if you're looking to hear or see regular bodybuilding videos, then this is probably the channel where you're gonna get that want fulfilled. So for now, I'm just gonna sign off, and I'll see you guys on the next one.